Latest football news, engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside talk on IO Radio.
Well, hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio with me, George. As always, Fridays at 5 p.m. of our new time. Instead of Wednesdays at 2, it's now Fridays at 5 p.m. Well, before I forget to mention, I better mention our social media. So we've got Pitchside Talk on Twitter. We've got at Pitchside Talk on Instagram, YouTube, and Mixcloud at Pitchside Talk as well. And this week, I'm always joined by our League One expert and living on cloud nine at the moment, just waiting to be dropped because Ipswich Town like to bottle things. It's Dan.
Yeah, they do like to bottle things, don't they? Yeah, living on cloud nine at the moment. But another good week of football for us. So
yes,
it's going to be a good show today.
Hopefully it'll be a good show. But unfortunately, we've got No Piers with us. He's been suspended on international duties. Something about arguing with a ref after full time. He likes to do that, and he got suspended on his England debut. Hopefully he'll be back next week. We'll have to touch wood. Hopefully, we're not too sure. Well, what have we got coming up today? Well, as Dan mentioned, we're talking about Ipswich Town. As always, living on cloud nine at the moment after facing Blackpool on Saturday. The big picture project of reforming of the English League. Well, that's a bit of a controversial subject. And also, we've got England, an England roundup. We've got 3 matches to talk about. Finally, some England and football, but didn't end well. It didn't end well on Wednesday night. Not looking good at all. Well, when we come back, we're talking about Ipswich Town.
Stay up to date with the latest footy news.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's our new time of Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan, as always. And well, Dan, we're going to be talking about Ipswich Town. And Ipswich Town blitz past Blackpool, heading back to the top of League One after goals from Luke Chambers' thunderbolt. Who saw that coming? Bishop's silky skills and Guion Edwards' clinical double, winning 4-1. Can we just start with what a performance by Town? I don't think anybody expected to go into this game, especially you. You said it was going to be a 2-2. I think you should start predicting one of them might win.
I need to be a bit more optimistic about it, don't I? I was definitely not expecting that. I thought going into the game that it was probably a game, the most likely game we were going to lose against Blackpool. They've got a decent squad. I know they haven't started well, but right at the blocks, we were right on it. Chambers scored that fantastic. It's not really. It was a half volley, wasn't it? It kind of bounced off the ground a bit, but what a strike from Luke Chambers. I was not expecting that from him, and what a season he's having so far. And obviously, Guion then scored again. His third and fourth of the season in this game. He's on fire as well. And Teddy Bishop, we were absolutely clinical in this game. I think in the first half we had 3 shots and three scored, which maybe doesn't look good on paper, but it's clinical. We were 3-0 up at half time, and we were playing some really good football. All 3 goals in the first half were fantastic. Great finish from Guion Edwards and trickery from Teddy Bishop as well. So, very happy going into half time. Then the second half, we went off it a little bit and then we conceded that goal. But right after that, it kind of we got the energy back again after they scored. It was like we thought, they might get back into it. Let's try and score again. And the 4th goal, that ball from Chambers, what a touch from Edwards and what a finish. It was lovely, and fantastic performance, and what a result it was.
Yes, what a result! I have to say that ball from Chambers. That was a Trent Alexander ball. That's what I can call it. That's what the new definition for that cross ball is. It's a Trent ball, and it was just a brilliant finish. Well, starting off with Ipswich man of the match, as you mentioned there, Guion Edwards. He has been on fire for Ipswich Town this season, playing in his desired position of left wing, not right full back, right back, right wing. Left wing, and he has absolutely excelled there. Have we finally, Edwards' success now come alive? Why has he not been playing like this last season and the season before? We saw glimpses in the Championship, not too much, but last season wasn't there really playing on that fullback. But this season, he's a different man. 4 goals in 5 games. It's his top goal scorer. Nothing can stop him then.
No, he's been absolutely on fire this season, and we've been playing him left wing, and obviously that's his preferred position, and he's showing what he can do there. I think last season he wasn't exactly bad, I don't think. It's just that he was in a position that he wasn't suited to. You know, right wing back. You know, he's an attacking player. So when he has to be in that defensive role, I don't think he likes it. Obviously, he didn't do bad. I think from the start he was quite poor, but he kind of grew into it. But you know, from the start of this season, he's been on the wing, and he's been absolutely fantastic. I think, you know, over the last few seasons, he's been quite underrated. I really do. I think he was even in the Championship. I thought he was a good player. You know, obviously that season was awful, and we only won 4 games or 5 games all season. So it was really poor. But he was one of the standout players for me that season. And then last season, obviously, you know, as I said, he played in his position that he didn't really feel comfortable with. But you know, playing him on the left wing this season, you know, he looks fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to see how he does for the rest of the season. And I think, you know, he's going to grow in confidence playing there, and you know, I can only see him scoring more goals.
Yeah, you can see him score more goals. Well, somebody who's another player who's come alive for Ipswich Town this season is the skipper, Luke Chambers, currently covering at right back for Kane Vincent-Young. But like Edwards, he's been on fire, scoring a thunderbolt of a goal which nearly took the net off. I was quite surprised it didn't take the net off and go out the stadium, how hard he hit that. But, you know, he's still got some life left in him, where last season people were calling him to be dropped. You know, he shouldn't be playing, blah, blah, blah. But he is just proving everybody wrong, especially the haters of him. And it's great to see, finally.
It is great to see. You know, I've always had support for Chambers, and you know, people have been calling for him to get dropped, but he's definitely proven them wrong. And I know at the start of this season, it would have been an unpopular opinion, but I do think that Chambers is and has always been better as a right back. We got into the playoffs in the Championship with him playing right back, and he just hasn't had a good time as centre back. I think, you know, at times he's been a good defender, but he makes too many mistakes when he's playing centre back. But I think he likes to get forward, and you know, he's been playing fantastic at right back in League One so far. Maybe he's 35 now, so you know, I don't think he can cut it there in the Championship right now. But I think that in League One, that's his level, and I think him playing right back, I think is really, you know, he's definitely grown confidence, because you could tell, you know, the last 2 seasons his morale wasn't great, and I don't think he was really enjoying his football, but I think he's back to enjoying it now, and he's been playing fantastic. And I hate to say it, but when Vincent-Young comes back, with the way Chambers is playing, it's going to be difficult for him to get straight in the squad. I really do, because Chambers is playing brilliantly. So yeah, good for him.
Cool. Unpopular opinion right now. I thought you want Kane Vincent-Young back in straight away. We haven't seen too much of him, but
no.
Well,
yeah. Sorry, I kind of just interrupted what you're trying to say.
No, go for it.
But yeah, I think I am a fan of Vincent-Young, but with the way Chambers is playing, I do think it'll be difficult for him to get into the squad. It might be an unpopular opinion. Maybe Vincent-Young could play left back instead of Kenlock. I prefer that.
Ooh. God, this would be like the Gwion Edwards thing again. He has to play wing back, and then, you know, Kevin will go play left back. But, you know, as you said there, Chambers has scored 2 goals this season already. In the last 3 seasons, he scored 2 goals in 111 games. So it looks like full back is a good position for him. Well, this is currently thriving at the moment. We really are thriving despite having lots of injuries. You know, we've got key players like Norwood out, who's been involved in a little bit more controversy. I'm not going to mention it, but if you want to mention it, you can. Go ahead. There's no filter on you at the moment. Blind out, Ward, Druin, Noland, many more out, but it doesn't seem to be a problem at the moment. Give us more injuries. We're playing well.
Yeah, we are playing well, even with all these players out. But I think it shows, you know, the depth in the squad that we have is good. You know, to beat Blackpool 4-1 away from home with pretty much one striker fit. I know Jackson came on for the last half an hour, but he's just coming back to fitness now. So pretty much with one striker fit, winning 4-1 at Blackpool is pretty good stuff. So, you know, I've said in the previous shows that the injuries are getting ridiculous, and I still think it is ridiculous how many injuries we get. You know, in the recent time, you know, we weren't even told about Nolan. He just wasn't in the squad for Blackpool, and I was like, oh, for goodness sake, another one. Another one that bites the dust. But yeah, I think the amount of injuries you get ridiculous. But, you know, it does show the depth in the squad that we have. And, we can still win games, which is a good sign, even with these players out, and we've got to put backups in. So it is good to see that we're still getting wins with these injured players.
Yeah, like you said, Nolan there. Nobody was even, they didn't even mention him. It's typical Ipswich. They just sort of put it on there and they go like, everyone goes, what's happened to him? And they go, oh yeah, he just got cast iron. Forgot to mention it really, It's nothing serious, But as you said, the Jackson's back as well. He came on, played a few minutes against Blackpool, but it's good to see him back. Could he possibly get into that starting 11, especially with Hawkins? He's not scoring at the moment, but could he possibly get in and provide a little bit more of an attacking threat, give that sort of that finishing product Ipswich need? Yeah,
I hope so, because Jackson might not be rated by a lot of people, but I do rate him. He had a very good season last year. He scored a lot of goals. So I do hope he can come back into the squad. I'm just a bit worried about this formation. I don't think he really suits the 4-3-3 that we're playing. I think he could be a good impact, coming off the bench. I think he could be good for that. But for now, I think Hawkins will probably, keep his position. I think, he hasn't scored goals, but it's coming. I do think his goal's coming, and when he scores, I think he'll go on a run. But he has been playing well, Hawkins. His hold-up play has been excellent in the games that he's played. So I think Hawkins has that spot for now, but I think Jackson, if he can come off the bench and have a few good games, I think he could get into the squad. I think maybe Lambert might try and play him on the wing, because I think him playing off Hawkins might be something that we could look at, but I do think this formation doesn't really suit him.
Well, we saw that a little bit last season, Jackson playing on the wing, so it's nothing new to him. So he's played there before, but I don't know. I like Hawkins, but I think it's just need a striker just to score. I mean, the midfield, you can't rely on the midfield forever, unfortunately. But despite Ipswich's fantastic start to the season, it's incredibly sad that the fans are not able to witness it in the stadium, because thousands would have travelled up to Blackpool, had a party on the seaside, travelled back home the next day. But after such a long, painful time, it looks like things are finally coming together for Ipswich Town, just with no fans there.
Yeah, I know it is. It's quite disappointing. We had a good start to last season with fans, and we all thought that we were going to win the league easy by the end of September. We were top of the league by 7 points,
100 points, 100 goals.
We're all saying that again this season as well. But yeah, it's quite sad to see that we're doing so well and there's no fans in the ground, because I think if the fans were in the ground at Portman Road, would be rocking at the moment. So yeah, it's quite sad. But the players don't have that pressure. I think that's maybe one of the reasons why we dropped off a little bit last year, because the fans were getting fed up, with the results that were happening, and it was just putting pressure on the players. So maybe it's a little bit better for them that they have no pressure on them. But they'll want the fans back, and everyone wants fans back. Hashtag let fans back in. That's the thing that's going around now.
It is.
But yeah, it is quite sad to see us doing so well. But there's still loads of time left. We're only 5 games in. We've still got to think of what happened last season.
Yes, we still do. But as we sort of did, we're only 5 games into the season. It's just proving all the doubters wrong from last season. 4 wins in the last 5 games. A poor end to last season. It looks like they've got that behind themselves now, because this is a funny stat for you, Dan. The last time it's won 4 out of the last 5 games at the start of the season was the 17-18 season. They were second at that point, and after 5 games, they finished 12th. And they had a new manager by that point as well. So some things swing around. But is this year different? Ipswich now got experience of playing in League One. They're not going into something new. I don't think they're going to just go and we're going to smash this. Do you think that this could be Ipswich's year?
I think it can be, yeah. I really do think so. I think there is a little bit of a difference, I feel, between this season and last year. I think at the start of this year, our players have, known what their jobs are. I think that's one thing that people have found is happening, that Lambert is telling players what they need to do, and they're doing that. And I think that's what is, making us win these games. For example, Judge, for the last 2 seasons, whenever he's been on the pitch, he's just been everywhere. But against Blackpool, he was actually sticking to his position, which is very rare for Judge to do. So, yeah, I know exactly. it's quite surprising. So I think that's a big thing. I think Lambert has really, changed his way of coaching, because last year players get away with everything, I think. But this year we've seen with Downs, he's been fit, but he hasn't started. He's probably our best player, but he hasn't started because, I don't know, maybe his mentality's not right. And Lambert has seen that and is not starting him. So I don't know. I think Lambert's mentality is different. I think the way we're playing is more. I think we're more confident than we were last year. But obviously, I still have that, worry in my mind that the same thing can happen. We didn't play great against MK Dons, which was quite a worry. So I think that worry in the back of my mind is still there. But I really do think that we could at least get in the playoffs this year with the team that we have. And when people come back from injury, I really do think we can. But anything could happen in this league. Suddenly a team down the bottom could suddenly win a few games and go above us when we have a few games off. So, yeah, it's gonna be tough to stay there. But I think the team we have is definitely more than possible.
Yes, anything can happen. A team that doesn't finish in the playoffs somehow manages to win the playoffs. So anything could happen really in League One. We don't forget about that. Well, this Saturday, Ipswich Town are back at home. They're back at Portman Road, kicking off a run of games, 6 in 17 days. It's a mixture of League One games and EFL Trophy games. But first up is Acton Stanley, currently sixth place in League One after 3 wins and 2 losses. A notable victory against Peterborough on the opening day of the season. But however, the last time these two sides met, Ipswich won 4-1 back in January. Dan, it looks like it's Ipswich's first sort of real test of the season. We can sort of say where Acton Stanley are. But what could we possibly expect from this game? And a score prediction, please.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I think Accrington Stanley, they've had a very good start. They've definitely surprised me. I don't think they're going to stay there. I think they'll drop off, but they've had a very good start. So it's going to be a test for us. But at Portman Road, our confidence is high. Maybe I should have a bit more faith in Ipswich in my score predictions. So going into this game, I think we'll come away with the 3 points. I think it's going to be. I'm going to go for 2-1. I think we'll probably concede again. Not keep a clean sheet, but we'll come away with the 3 points anyway. 2-1.
Well then, Ipswich apparently going to come away with 3 points tomorrow. Well, will we see that? Let's hope so. But when we come back, we'll be talking about the big picture project, something that has controversially rocked English football and the English the pyramid scheme. How interesting!
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radios at Fridays at 5 p.m. at our brand new time with me, George, and Dan. As always, well, before I forget to mention, if you want to follow us on any of our social medias, it's pretty simple. Twitter's at Pitchside Talk, Instagram's talk_pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud at Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, or even this one, if you missed anything out of this show. But also, I've got to mention, if you want to follow us on Twitter, which is pretty interesting, we do some reviews, we do some previews, some match previews for the Premier League games and Ipswich Town games. If you ever missed any, you can go on there and you can see what we think will happen in the Premier League this weekend as it is returning. And we have some big games this weekend. We have the Merseyside derby. I'm not looking forward to that one. It might be a cricket score, but I hold confident Liverpool will win. But we are moving on to something that has caused a lot of controversy in all the English leagues and the English pyramid, and that is the Big Picture Project. Yes, the Big Picture Project. And on Sunday, so this project was revealed, which has been thought up by the Liverpool and the Manchester United owners, which has been backed by Rick Perry, the chairman of the EFL, which could see the biggest shake-up in the English league ever, more than the Premier League being made. So here are the proposals. Dan, you might not like them. I can tell your face already, you're not liking them. The Premier League will be reduced from 20 teams to 18 clubs. The EFL Cup and Community Shield will be scrapped. Currently, one club, one vote principle will be abolished, as it will rule 14 clubs out of the current 20 will need to agree on the proposals. Powers would be in the place of 9 Premier League clubs remaining in the Premier League the longest. So that's Arsenal, Chelsea, Everton, Liverpool, Manchester United, Man City, Southampton, Tottenham, and West Ham. Only 6 of the 9 long-standing clubs need to vote for these major changes. a £250 million payment upfront to the EFL plus the £100 million payment to the Football Association, and 25% of the Premier League's annual earnings, up 4%, will go to the EFL clubs. What do you think to this plan? This is big.
It is big, yeah. It's very big, and this has all come out of nowhere, hasn't it? I know they said that this is all like 3 years in the making, but it's all come out in the last week, and I'm like, Jesus. But yeah, I think overall, I don't really agree with this at all. I think maybe because I support Ipswich in League One, people might think that I'd be for it, but it's just all it's ridiculous, some of the stuff that they're proposing. I know, EFL clubs probably will vote for it. Well, I know that they will want this to happen, obviously, because it helps them. Obviously, that amount of money that goes down to the EFL clubs, it will help them. But I think just some of the proposals, I think putting it down to 18 teams is unnecessary. I think there's no reason why they need to do that. And with the proposals, I've read that they're going to still keep, if this did go ahead, they'll still keep Championship, League One and League Two to 24 teams, which is stupid because then they'll have to relegate 2 teams from League Two that don't deserve to be. So that's just stupid. I think this whole Big Six thing, it just helps them, doesn't it? It just helps the 6 biggest clubs in the country get further away from the teams below them. I was reading that I think if teams in the bottom, out of them 9, I guess, that want to have a takeover, it needs to be voted for by the teams in the top 9, which I don't really understand. Obviously, the teams are going to vote against it because then they'll be nearer to the Big Six. But I think it just favours the big clubs in the country, and it'll be harder for the teams, teams like West Brom, Leeds, Burnley, teams like that to actually stay in the Premier League. I guess the only good thing is the money going down to the EFL clubs. But I think overall, I really don't like some of the stuff that they've put forward, and I think, I'm quite surprised how the leader of the EFL is so for this, because it's harder for Championship clubs now, isn't it? Because they wouldn't want to get promoted because they know that they'll get promoted and just come straight down again. They won't have a chance of staying up, which is quite difficult. But yeah, definitely against it.
Yes, well, so this sort of idea was thought up to sort of do the financial support to EFL clubs, as some clubs have sort of said that they will go under soon. This was thought up to that. But also, if this proposal did go ahead, as you said there, the top 6 will get more power. I think the chief executive of the Premier League will be scrapped. There'll be no chief executive, so the Big 6 will sort of theoretically control the Premier League, what happens, what teams come up and all sorts. So there's a lot of controversy, and these proposals met some mixed reviews, especially one of the long-standing 9 clubs, West Ham, were against the plans. They did not like the plans. The Premier League came out with a statement naming the plans could have a damaging impact on the game, especially in the English in the pyramid scheme. We're talking, big changes there. National League teams, how they would be affected, and below. That's a big sign there. Could have damaging impact. But however, the Leyton Orient chairman, Nigel Travis, welcomed the proposals, as he says some of the EFL clubs would disappear in 5 to 6 weeks without any money, because they're being affected because they can't get fans back in due to the new government restrictions. But the chairman of the EFL, Rick Perry, has backed the proposals. As he said, it's in the best interest of the clubs to protect the English pyramid. But these proposals have more backlash. With talks of the English pyramid collapsing, why go ahead with this? Why? Is it just because it's the money thing that clubs would be saved in the top 4 leagues, but below that, we're talking problems?
Yeah, and it's always like that. It's always the top teams in the Premier League don't realise how big the Football League system is in England. Below the National League, there's I don't know how many steps of football there is, but there is so much. And grassroots football is what kind of made what English football is today. So I think people forget, what teams there are below the Premier League. But if there is money going to EFL clubs like Leyton Orient, as their owner said, teams will go out of business. That's the only good thing I can see out of these proposals. But I think that if that amount of money goes into league, the League 1 and 2 clubs, I think the gap between League 2 and National League will get even bigger than it is, and I think that will have an effect on the pyramid as a whole. And if this is going to having a massive effect to the English football pyramid, then, as you said, why would they do that? I just don't understand why they'd do it if that was going to happen. But it's just so much controversy that I think it's a tough thing for them to do, and it may be good for teams in League 1 and 2, but overall it's not going to be good for English football.
Yes, well, we've got 8 tiers of the English pyramid to think about. That's absolutely insane. But, well, some news came out of this on Wednesday. The Premier League released a statement at 4:36 in the afternoon regarding the project Big Picture. And it said all Premier League clubs have unanimously agreed that the Big Picture project will not be endorsed or pursued. All the clubs have decided to work together on a new strategy plan for the financials of English football. They already agreed that we'll see £50 million, a rescue package down to League 1 and League 2 clubs. And they're now also in discussions with the EFL about providing financial support for the Championship clubs. So we've sort of got a conclusion from this. We're going to see some support to League 1 and League 2 clubs, which is good, because they were going to go under. Some of them were, don't know if they're going to play, and they are the struggling clubs. Got Maxfield, they've got new owners now, but they were close to going. Bury Town went. Southend are in trouble. But have we finally got a conclusion from this and sort of a good outcome from this? Because we haven't got the proposals that were suggested, but money's coming to EFL, which is going to possibly save those clubs and keep football alive.
Yeah, I think, the best conclusions kind of come from it. I think, it's good that all 20 teams kind of rejected it and, thought about what effect this will have to English football. So it's good that these things aren't going to come in, because why change it when it's working fine? It works fine now. 3 teams get relegated from the Premier League, 3 go up, and it all works. It works absolutely fine in the pyramid. So I don't know why you change that. But then them actually putting money into League 1 and 2 clubs is a really good thing as well. Obviously, there's teams in League 1 that don't need it. Probably teams like Sunderland and Ipswich. They're a team that might have money trouble, but they're one of the richer ones in League 1. But then there's teams in League 2 like Stevenage and Southend. They're in trouble as well, that need the money, and them not having fans in is going to hurt them in the long run. So them deciding that they're going to give that money down to League 1 and 2 clubs is a really good thing. And so I think that overall the conclusion that they came to is a good one, and I'm just so happy that these proposals aren't going to become a thing.
I'm as well, but in the future, could we possibly see something like this happening again with these proposals, but worded differently? Because the Premier League wants to. There's threats of the breakaway league possibly happening, which has finally been talked down about now. But in the future, could we possibly see this happening? If the gap's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger between the top 6 and the teams in the Premier League already established, as like you said, the Championship and League 1 clubs and League 2 clubs, when they get promoted to there, finally, they're going to struggle.
Yeah. And that's the worrying thing, because I do think proposals like this will happen again. It's inevitable, really. A couple of weeks ago, I can't remember who it was. I think it was maybe not Man United, but someone said that they want their B teams to be in the EFL, which that frustrates me, because it will absolutely ruin clubs in the EFL. But there's going to be proposals like that, because I think teams in the top 6 of the Premier League, they don't want the teams below them getting closer to them, if you know what I mean. Because at the moment we've got Everton, Leicester, and Villa in the top 4. The big teams aren't there at the moment, so it's a bit of a coincidence that all this is being said at this time. But yeah, I think it's inevitable that proposals like this are going to happen, and I do hope that as these proposals come, the English football system, the FA or whatever, come to a right conclusion about it and actually do what's right for the English football and not just what's right for the top 6 clubs in the Premier League.
Yes, hopefully so. Yes, that was the Man City chief executive who suggested that B teams around 23 sides should be in League One and League Two. But I was thinking, how do they get promoted? Do they get promoted to the Premier League and then play Man City and then Man City under 23s? That's just who's going to win straight away. It's like a sister team being in the Premier League. But we finally got a conclusion from the big picture project. It won't be going ahead, but financial support will be going down to the EFL clubs in League One and League Two, and something will be sorted out for the Championship sides, which is good to see. It's better than the Premier League box office thing where you have to pay £15 for a game at 3 o'clock, which is a bit ridiculous. But when we come back, we're going to be talking about England. England were back in action. We had 3 games. What could possibly go wrong for those 3 games? I wonder what could happen next.
The best place in Ipswich to hear the latest football debates, Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio at our new time of Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George and Dan, as always here to the end talking about football, whatever else we need to talk about on IO Radio. The only football show actually on IO Radio at the moment. We've knocked out all the other competition. There's only us just left. We might as well just make our own league, Dan, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Breakaway league, why not? Well, if you want to follow us on any of our social medias, it's pretty simple. Twitter, at Pitchside Talk, Instagram's talk_pitch, YouTube and Mixcloud is Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, or even this one, if you missed anything, this will be out at Fridays at 6 p.m. just after the show. It will be out if you missed anything, you want to listen back to us talking about Ipswich Town or Project Big Picture, which is a bit controversial, and we're going to leave that now. We're going to talk about England. England were back this week. Players are on international duty. Some teams playing international friendlies, Euro 2020 qualifiers. So if you're Ireland, bye-bye. And Nation League group stages. Sorry, we have to you've got to just sort out the rivalry straight away. Ireland are never going to make it. Scotland are never going to make it. Wales stand a little bit more of a chance of Bales not playing golf. And Northern Ireland, they're there. They want to be.
They're just there.
They're just there. You know, like it's just that people go hi, and you just go hi.
Yeah.
But England were back in action, playing international friendlies and 2 Nation League games because they've already qualified for Euro 2020. Oh, sorry, Euro 2021. Sorry, I was supposed to say.
Well, it's still going to be called Euro 2020, isn't it? Even though it's in 2021.
Yeah, it's a bit confusing, but we'll get our head around it. And starting off with last week's game, which was on Thursday, England kicked off with a victory, a 3-0 victory against Wales. Yes, we can celebrate that. With debut goals from Calvert-Lewin on his debut, Connor Cody and Danny Ings with an overhead kick. A heavily rotated side for Gareth Southgate, seeing appearances for Nick Pope, Calvin Phillips, Saka on his debut, and Jack Grealish winning the man of the match. I wonder if he starts anymore. Oh, wait. Well, a few days later, England played again, and they came from behind to beat the world's top-ranked side, Belgium, in the Nations League, taking them to top of the group after Lukaku helped Belgium take the lead through a penalty, thanks to Eric Dyer bringing him down. But England battled back with Rashford scoring a penalty, thanks to Jordan Henderson getting pulled back ever so slightly. Just a little tug of the shoulder. He went over. And then Mason Mount got the winner with a deflected shot, taking it over Simon Mignolet. Gareth Southgate described the victory as a sort of test we needed and a really good experience for our young players. Well, England played on Wednesday and ended their final game of the international break with a defeat to Denmark 1-0 in the Nations League, taking them back down to 3rd in the table. We're ending it with 9 men. Harry Maguire, miserable season continues, unfortunately, being sent off inside 31 minutes thanks to 2 yellow cards. And Reece James getting shown a red card at after the final whistle after confronting the ref. Not too sure what about. Nobody knows what about, but we'll find out probably in the coming days. So after a good week for England, living on cloud 9, after victories against Wales and Belgium, brought back down to earth with a bump, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was quite unfortunate on Wednesday, obviously, losing to Denmark. But it was 2, good victories against Wales. We were comfortable with the 3-0 win. Against Belgium, we weren't amazing, but we managed to beat the team that are ranked number 1 in the world. So it was a good win. But then we were really poor on Wednesday. I think it just... I don't know about the team selection. I think the team selection was wrong from the start from Southgate, and then it didn't help with Maguire's red card, and then a penalty that weren't a penalty. It just everything was going wrong in that game for England. But yeah, we didn't show any attacking threat really, and we had Kane and Rashford on the pitch, which is quite surprising. You know, we had a front three of Rashford, Kane, and Mount. Don't know what Mount's done to be like starting in the squad. I know if Piers was here, we'd probably be having a debate about that, but I don't know what Mount's done to be, you know, a starter in the squad. You know, he scored, but it was the luckiest goal I've ever seen. So yeah, it wasn't. Even though we had quite a lot of attacking threat, it just wasn't happening. I don't know what the problem was. Maybe, you know, the midfield. I think we had, who did we play? We played Rice,
Phillips,
and Phillips.
Nathan Miles was on as well.
Yeah, Maitland-Niles and Reece James as well. Reece James probably was our best player on the pitch. Unfortunate for him, you know, to get a red card at the end. He was obviously swearing at the ref, so fair enough. But he was our best player on the pitch yesterday. So fair play to him. But yeah, it was a strange team. I think the main, you know, talking point was starting Maguire. I just don't understand. When I saw Maguire starting, he's on really bad form. He's not in the right mindset to play football at the moment. We've seen it for Manchester United. The mistakes he made against Tottenham were awful. So how he can, you know, start in a game in the game on Wednesday against Denmark, I really don't understand it. And obviously that showed he put in 2 rash challenges and got sent off. And it was poor from England once again. And, you know, all the Southgate outers are back in force.
They are a bit, but starting with, I know it sounds bad, we're going to start with Harry Maguire. Does he need a break? I know sort of everyone's sort of asking it, but does he really need a break to sort of help him find sort of that form again? I think what's happened over the summer has sort of really affected him. You know, we're seeing it for Manchester United. He's not in the right mindset, but he was such a good defender for England. He was so good in the World Cup, but does he just need that break just so he can relax, take a few weeks off, and think about himself for a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. I think that'll be beneficial for him. I know everyone's saying that, but I do think, you know, people are right in saying that. I do. I don't know. I think that he's not in the right frame of mind, as you said, at the moment. And if he can't separate what's happening in life outside the pitch on the pitch, then I think he should have a bit of a break, because, you know, it's affecting his performances. So I think a break will definitely do him good. You know, that doesn't excuse what he did, and, you know, it was wrong at what he did. But I do think a bit of a break will do him good. Obviously, he is captain for Man United, and will they really drop Maguire at this moment in time? I don't think so. I know he's been making mistakes, but I don't think they'll drop him. Obviously, he's captain. Whether he deserves to be captain and in the squad, I don't know, but I don't think Man United will drop him. Obviously, I don't know when the next international break is. I think it's November. So maybe we'll have a bit of a break then from the England squad. But yeah, I do think a break will do him good, and he just needs to think about what's happened in the last few months and try and get back to the form that he was in before.
Well, he will get a break from the next international break because he's suspended. The same as Reece James.
Oh, yeah,
so he'll get a break anyway.
Of course he will.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
But another player that I don't know what more he needs to do is Jack Grealish. You know, he won man of the match against Wales. A lot of fans have been very vocal about him. He needs to be starting. He's in form of his life for Aston Villa. I'm so surprised he's still there on another 5-year contract. But he's been dropped for Mount. I know Mount scored against Belgium, but surely Grealish needs to be playing here. It's a bit of a joke. He's such a good player, and he's not playing. Come on.
Yeah, I know. It is an absolute joke. And I hate to go on and on about Grealish because...
Grealish fanboy.
He's such a good... Yeah, I know. But he should be starting for England. There's no point in, you know, trying to defend it. For some reason, Gareth Southgate loves Mason Mount at the moment, and I don't really understand. He keeps saying stuff like in the game yesterday, he was asked why wasn't Grealish even, you know, come on as a sub. He brought Henderson on. Like, what's Henderson going to do in the last 10 minutes? I know he was fantastic in the World Cup, but he's not exactly an attacking player. So I think, after the game, he was saying we needed a pace going forward and stuff like that. And that's what Grealish can do. That's his game. He gets the ball in midfield and runs at the defence. That's just what he does. And he's, as you said, he's in the form of his life at Aston Villa. He was man of the match against Wales. I really don't know what more he can do to get into that England squad. He definitely deserves to be there. And I just don't get what Gareth Southgate's points on him. I really don't understand. But I don't know. Southgate's got it in his head that Mount is better than Grealish, so Mount's going to start, unfortunately.
Yes, unfortunately, Will. Well, England are going to be playing some international friendlies and, Nation League matches next month on the 12th, 15th and the 18th, which is the international friendly against England versus New Zealand, which is actually now cancelled. That match is not going ahead now, so England are only going to be playing 2. And both of them in the Nations League. So Sunday the 15th is against Belgium away, and then the 18th is Iceland at home. Do we feel confident going into those games? I don't think we do, especially if Grealish is not starting.
No.
We do not, unfortunately, here on Pitchside Talk. Well, when we come back right after this short little message, we might do a little bit of a football roundup. Oh.
Pitchside Talk, footy debate from the Premier League Outback.
Well, welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. Fridays at 5 p.m. on a brand new time with me, George, and Dan. And Dan, guess what?
What?
We're about to do a football roundup.
It's actually happening. You didn't lie to our listeners for once.
I didn't lie. I'm sorry. We always run out of time to do it, but I've got a bit of time to do it, and we're going to do it now. So we're going to get straight into this. So Huddersfield Town are possibly going to be selling a grant to West Bromwich Albion for £15 million. Grant scored 19 goals last season in the Championship, and Slaven Bilic is interested in signing him. But I don't know why they need him, because they're not going to do very well in the Premier League, unfortunately. Well, a side that looks like it's going to sign a fantastic player is West Ham are set to complete the signing of Ben Rama for £30 million from Brentford. Finally, he's going somewhere in the Premier League like Ollie Watkins, and it's finally happening. But 30 million, a little bit too much for him, but we will find out and see. And also, big news, Will Keane has found another new club in West Ham, Wigan Athletic, signing on a short-term deal until January the 9th. The ex-Manchester United striker, we're going to now call him, has had a previous spell at Wigan Athletic between November 2013 and January 2014. So he's already had a little spell there already. But, he's an Ipswich Town player, finally finding a new club. Not Ipswich Town, which was rudely expected until Mark McGuinness or Bennett. I don't know. Was it Bennett or Mark McGuinness that was teased that it was going to be Will Keane's?
Yeah, maybe. But obviously, he was probably waiting for the call from Lambert, weren't he? Because it was inevitable. But he's made a move to Wigan. I'm just pleased that it's going to end on the 9th of January, so he doesn't have the chance to score against us, because that's what will definitely happen if he plays against us. But at least he's got somewhere to be now. Let Wigan moan about him instead.
Yeah, Wigan can moan about instead. But Dan, we've hit the end of the show. The referee's about to blow his whistle for full time. We've run out of extra time. We don't want to stay on the pitch too long because we might get sent off. We might not be able to do the show next week. Might get suspended for that one. So we'd better end it there. But if you want to follow us on any of the social media, it's pretty simple. Twitter's at Pitchside Talk, Instagram's Talk_pitch, YouTube, Mixcloud Pitchside Talk if you want to back to any of our previous shows, or even this one as well. So Dan, will you be with me here next weekend talking about Ipswich Town, the Premier League, because Liverpool going to win the Merseyside derby as always, and something else hopefully?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to be here for when Everton have won the Merseyside derby.
Don't start talking like that. God, this is not good. You might end up like Piers. You might have to terminate.
No, it'll be 0-0. It'll be 0-0.
Yeah, I know it will be. Because it's always what good games are like. Well, I've been George. We'll see you next week. And ciao.
Bye.
The whistle has been blown for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.